What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 179 of Value Town. I'm ChanmanV, and he's Gaara. He's Gaara, and we're in the middle of the Boomsday Project, or at least in the very, very beginnings of the Boomsday Project. But Gaara, how you doing, man?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. New expansion hype.
Yeah, you're so crystal clear today too. This is good. This is the beauty of doing just two people, is that the connections are much better, quality of video and stuff. It's like much better.
It might also have something to do with the brand new webcam that I'm using.
The brand new, that's true too. That's right. That's right. Yeah, higher resolution makes an incredible difference.
It's like 1080p, baby.
Yeah, yeah. New expansion comes new great things to Value Town, right? But yeah, guys, so we just started, like literally day one, just finished, with the expansion. So we've got a lot to talk about, a lot of things where just what we've been experimenting with, what we're getting a chance to play with. We've got the first power rankings and popularity and top decks from HSReplay that we're going to be talking about. And then just general assessments, what's been surprising, not surprising, or maybe, disappointing, all that good stuff. And then we'll try to get some Q&A probably from Twitch chat today or Twitter, either one. I'll probably prioritize Twitter if you guys want to tweet it to ValueTownGG, and we'll read them out. But Gaara, first 24 hours, like how much have you been playing? Because it's always a weird time for EU, right? It's like you don't have like half the day. You probably only have like a quarter of the day. So how much have you played so far?
So my streaming time my schedule is from 1 p.m. CT till 9 p.m. CT, and the expansion came out at 7 p.m. CT. So I still stream my regular time. So I only played 2 hours yesterday into the new expansion, and then I went to the gym and played a little bit there, a little bit theory crafting. But today when I woke up, it was like the new expansion all day. And what is cool is that HSReplay has caught up to the one-day meta, I would say.
Yep, that's right.
I think for the first week there is like a daily meta, and the next week we will probably have like a 3-day meta, like slowly beginning like to have an established meta. And HSReplay told me to play Big Spell Mage, and I'm like, oh, I'm pretty good with Big Spell Mage.
Did we really? I didn't even know that.
And then I climbed to Legend with 92% win rate with Big Spell Mage.
Oh my God! I didn't even. I was busy doing other stuff clearly, but I didn't even realize Big Spell Mage was that high in Legend. Holy crap! That's awesome.
And I'm like, man, everyone's playing these Mecha Toon decks and crazy. And then HSReplay tells me to play Big Spell Mage. I'm like, what? And then I just tried that. I trusted it, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah, one thing you'll notice is the Cthulhu decks and the Priest combo deck, none of those are up here. So
they all lose to aggro, and this is why everyone plays Zoo, Odd Rogue, all these fancy aggro decks, and Big Spell Mage is pretty good against those.
It's Shudderwalk all over again. Happens every single expansion. Those are the type of decks people want to see, especially on the first day. So all the streamers indulge and they play the crazy decks. That at one point I think I saw 4 of the streamers playing the Priest deck. It was like Dog, Toast. I think Crip was playing it too, and I forget it's Firebatter or somebody. They were all playing at the same time. I'm just like, oh my God, this deck is so it's so like complicated, or it's so many cards and clicks to have to do to actually execute it, where you're like, oh, I'm getting all these Divine Spirits and all these Vivid Nightmares just to put it on a board eventually. After I do it, like, after I click about 10 times, then I start clicking on the board. So it's pretty funny how that one at least turned out. So yeah, anyways, let's just start with what we've been playing. It sounds like you've been probably playing all day so far today. So you've been playing Big Spell Mage. Why don't we bring that up? I think I have that here, right? This is the same one that you sent me earlier. I think it's this one. Yeah. Actually, I have your Big Spell Mage and I have your Odd Warrior, which is pretty cool too.
I almost got to Legend on the second server of Odd Warrior as well today.
Oh man, nice.
Like rank 2, 5 stars. It's a little bit worse than Big Spell Mage, but it is so much fun because it plays more new cards.
Yeah.
And Dr. Boom, of course, the new.
Yeah, so let's go through the Mage first. So it's Artificer Keleseth. Wow, Keleseth is interesting.
It started off as a fun deck because I wanted to play new cards. So I played in Lunar Pocket.
Yep, Luna Pocket Galaxy.
it's a very high rolly card. As I like men as I already mentioned on the show when we
Mhm.
talked about the new cards, is if you draw it to the perfect time, um, like you play it in curve basically, then pretty much any minion you play afterwards doesn't matter if you like reduce the Serenite Chain Gang. Obviously, it's better to reduce the big guys, but because you tempo them out, and tempo is so good in Hearthstone. You go Flame Strike and you play the new 5 mana Neutron. It's so
Yeah.
powerful. But yeah,
Okay.
the best game was when I just played the Luna Pocket and then I top decked Alana, and then you play a 1 mana Alana. This is just the
Yeah.
absolute dream.
Yeah, so
But I guess
yeah, let me kind of read it out so like actually the folks watching and listening kind of understand where you're going with the Pocket Galaxy. It's pretty greedy. This deck's kind of greedy at the same time, and that's kind of why I think eventually why the discount like matters a lot. But we've got the Kalaset, the Acolyte of Pain. We got an Ooze just in case weapons would go crazy on us. Stonehill Defender. Okay, this is where we start getting a little greedy. Got some removal with Voodoo Doll and Polymorph and Dragon's Fury. Got the Chain Gang and Witchwood Piper. Interesting. The Giggling Inventor, which seems to be in every single deck right now. I feel like that card is kind of like MVP right now in the first day. Blizzard, of course, Meteor, Geist to stop all those crazy combo decks. Astromancer, which is another new card. Flame Strike, of course, and then the Lich King, Alana, and then Frost Lich Jaina, of course, at the end. So yeah, like talk about this a little bit because one of the things that when I was looking at Luna Pocket Galaxy really briefly when I did, I was just thinking, man, it's hard to have enough minions in any kind of mage deck, without
Mhm.
including all those removal spells and whatever burn you want to put in. So I just kind of passed over it and I was just like, I'm probably gonna come back to this like a lot later. But it looks like you found something on day one, or at least there's like enough value in terms of
Mhm.
trying to get like basically the whole 1 mana cost thing. So yeah, I mean, what are some really big hits that you
Okay.
you tend to have when you're replaying it?
So it already became a little bit more popular at the end before the new expansion, the Kalasav version of Big Spell Mage. And I really disliked it because you cut Doomsayer and you cut the other
Right.
2 drops. And you usually want to play 6 2 drops. But reducing a 2 drop to 1 mana is not so powerful with the Lunar Galaxy. So it really works perfectly with Kalasev because with Kalasev, you play more expensive minions, and reducing those obviously is more value. And right now, Doomsayer is not so good, anyways, because of all the Void Reapers and all the silences people play. So it just works perfectly. And the curve is much more powerful now. Like you're setting up your board clears through minions. Like you have the Kalasev, obviously, in the most optimal case. But if you don't have him, you play Stonehill Defender, which is a pretty decent 3 mana taunt. Then you go Serenite Chain Gang, which is pretty good 4 mana taunt. And then you have now the Giggling Inventor, which is a very, very annoying 5 mana taunt to deal with.
Yeah.
And it's
Super
so good.
annoying.
And it's
Yeah.
so good to set up your board clears, your Blizzards, your Dragon's Furies. And so you really don't even necessarily need the Doomsayer. So it started off as a joke, but then I optimized the deck and it's working quite nicely. Um, the Astromancer is, I just played it because it's a new card and I wanted to test it.
Yeah, what do
It's
you
kind
think
of
of
cool.
Astromancer? Because I haven't gotten a chance to play it at all.
I mean, I didn't unfortunately draw him too often, but I got it's because it can give you any outcome. It's very interesting. I got actually the one time the Warlock class legendary that gives all your minions in your hand echo, and then the opponent
Oh
was playing Zoom,
wow.
and he was playing Zoom. He had to kill it because I would have just
Yeah,
echoed Stonehill Defenders and stuff.
that's
So
crazy.
it spawns crazy board states and scenario.
That's fun
It's
though.
Yeah, it's definitely fun because it's pretty good. It feels like a spiteful summoner, a more controllable spiteful
Right.
summoner. It's a fun card, but it's probably worse than a Baron Geddon. I can imagine like if you play
Oh yeah, yeah.
Luna's Pocket and then you have a 1 mana Baron Geddon after Jaina or even the same turn. It's just
Oh,
crazy.
yeah, that would
It's
be a
just
huge swing turn, right? So
yeah.
that would be super good.
But
Uh,
yeah, that was pretty good anti-aggro deck.
yeah. So you have the odd warrior over here too, which
Mhm.
is we've got the I'm trying to look at oh this is the Eternium right the Eternium Rover, which is like a card I've been playing a lot with too, which is really cool. And then we've got the Omega Assembly, which draws those cards for you at the end of the game. A bunch of the typical kind of removal with shield slams and whirlwinds and shield blocks and brawls and you've got ooze and silence again. You got a lot of like things trying to cover all these little nooks and crannies. A reckless flurry, which is pretty interesting. But then you've got the gore howl at the end, which I think is, I don't know, are you using that with reckless flurry or reckless flurry is actually with the armor, right? Like where you actually clean out the armor.
I mean, you
Yeah.
get tank
So
up.
yeah, so gore howl is obviously just another just kind of weapon that you can use a bunch of times. But in the end, it's kind of like where all the fun cards come out, which I particularly enjoy, which is Dr. Boom, of course. You've got King Mosh, Baku, and then you've got the new card Beryllium Nullifier. But no Boom Ship. Is Boom Ship 9?
9 mana.
Yeah, 9 mana. No Boom Ship though, huh? Like that's
But, I mean, you have Battle Cries and stuff. You don't want to play Boom Ship.
that's
You want to
true.
play this Recruit Warrior. Let's hope I play some more Recruit Warrior tomorrow.
Mhm.
I'm excited to test
Yeah, I'll talk about mine in a second, which is really fun. Yeah, so tell me about this. Like, where are the real sweet spots for odd
All right.
here? Yeah.
I want to go back to HSReplay.net because
Yes, man.
I played on Asia to Legend with Big Spy Mage because HSReplay told me to play Big Spy Mage. It worked out perfectly. And then I switched to NA and HSReplay told me to play Odd Warrior. So I played Odd Warrior and it's working really well there. It's a little bit worse versus aggro. So I played a lot of Baku Warrior before the expansion, and you were playing the rush package, how we like to call it. And you basically replace the rush package with the Mechs. And I really liked it. The Ethereum Rover is such a powerful card.
Yeah,
and
so good.
why I ended up playing the Beryllium Nullifier as well, because there's a lot of matchups where Odd Warrior unfortunately just auto loses. Like, Skulking Guys, Control Mage, you can't really beat Jaina. And like Deadman's Hand Warrior is also super, super bad, or like Shadowwalk Shaman. But what I noticed is that whenever I got Beryllium Nullifier, usually I get it from the Omega Assembly or from the Dr.
Oh,
Boom
really?
Hero.
Okay. I rarely get them.
These decks can't deal with it.
Yeah.
And then if it just sticks around, like a warrior can't kill it, they just have to YOLO brawl. And then you keep discarding max and magnetize the Beryllium Nullifier. It gets bigger and bigger. And it doesn't matter if he has infinite resources, you can just win through that. And this is why I ended up like adding one at least to my deck. It's really hard to make room for another one. Just because, again, with the Ethereum Rover, it's so good in combination. And after Dr. Boom, everything has rush. And I was super, super surprised by Omega Assembly. First, I was like, that's a decent card, but
it's
not
super
better than
good.
Elise. But it's so good, especially after Dr. Boom, because everything will have rush. And a lot of these mechs have taunt and magnetic and lifesteal.
Yeah. It turns into
so
one.
good.
A lot of times it turns into one or two minions. Like those 3 cards just turn into 1 or 2 minions. You can immediately attack or rush with it, right? So, Omega is amazing. Like I think the first time I played it, I was like, I got it like so early. It's like maybe I'm supposed to use it early, And after that, never again have I used Omega outside of turn 10, and it's been like crazy good.
I think another card that is very underrated right now, I mean, it's still very, very early in the expansion, but people don't play this card, or I have not seen people play it, is the Dynomatic. I'm playing it, and damn, it feels so great. Oftentimes, you just don't have like the removal for an additional fledgling or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just so powerful. It feels like the old Bomb Blubber, but more controllable. Yes, it doesn't work on max, but when it's good, it's so good.
So Dynomac's the one that does 5 damage, right? To non-mechs, basically, right?
Yeah.
But it's only minions. It's not to the hero. So
yeah.
Right. So
that's why it's so good.
Yeah. So it clears the board if you're playing a non-mech deck. And you know what? I was playing around with a little. I've gotten it a few times from Omega Assembly, and I think the times I've played it, it's worked out. But I held off adding it to the deck just because, what happens when you do play mech? I think mechs will get a little bit more and more popular. We kind of see it obviously in Warrior right now, maybe a tiny bit in Hunter and probably a lot in Paladin right now too. But eventually I feel like that card's just not going to have very much value because it's not going to be able to kill anything. So I've held off on adding it to my deck, or at least my warrior deck. But maybe right now, maybe right now it's like super good, underrated.
Yeah, it's definitely like a meta choice.
Mhm.
Like right now, I don't feel like too many people are playing mechs. I also heard a lot of people about testing Mech Paladin, but I personally have not faced a single Mech Paladin, and I'm playing like all day.
Dude, same with me. Like Odd Paladin is like still super strong, like in terms of the stats, or at least maybe not in Legend, but actually in Legend, still like 51, 52%. But the Odd Paladin, they've added mechs to that, which is pretty interesting. I mean, from what I can tell from looking at it, just really briefly, is that they've just added meteor minions, just to stick on board. You still got those, the silver hand type of combo plays, but generally speaking, they're just trying to stick things on the board, the Fungalmancer and and things like that. So yeah, the Odd Paladin's still strong, but I have not played a single Odd Paladin yet, even though the stats show that it's pretty popular.
I faced Odd Paladin, but there's
Really?
apparently like people playing a complete new Mech Paladin deck with the
Oh,
7 mana
oh,
legendary.
really? Oh, yeah, with
But
the
I've not
Crank one?
faced
Yeah.
that ever, like
Hmm.
not even close. I faced Control Paladin, and it was surprisingly good. I played Control Warlock with
Really?
like Non-Feratian. There's like no way I should lose, right? And it was so close. He almost fatigued me. I couldn't believe it. Like
Really?
Control Paladin, yes.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty interesting.
It's yeah, crazy. People
Okay.
play all sorts of different things right now.
Yeah, well,
It's
this is the best time. I mean, this is the most fun, like when people are just experimenting with things. So let me bring up my decks that I've been playing which are where are they? I think I maybe haven't brought them up yet. Let me bring them up. So I've been playing a kind of a mech. I don't know what you call it, mech recruitish warrior. I mean, there's only like one card that recruits, which is the weapon. But I've been playing that as well as the Ent version of the Token Druid, which has been pretty interesting too. So let me bring up this one. Okay, so here's the mech warrior, which is a little bit different than you. I'm trying out like different cards too, which I think are, so you might not have seen some of these cards if you're literally just looking on HS Replay and looking at the good decks. You might not see some of these cards, but okay. So anyway, let's start with my warrior. So a lot of the similar things as you. I have a Dead Man's End here just to play around with, just having like just more resources towards the end of the game. Lots of card draws and removal, so Acolytes of Pain and Warpath and Forge of Souls to draw of course, the Wool Cleaver and the Blood Razor in case I need it. And then most of it's just like mech and just high value minions. So I've got the Eternium Rover, I've got the Beryllium Nullifier. I added the Bronze Gatekeeper here just because I felt like there was just like a giant mech gap between Rover and Beryllium, and I really just like would like to buff the Rover sometimes, and everything that's 2 mana and even 3 mana aren't like super great, like the ones that have magnetic on them. So I kind of wanted to try out, Bronze Gatekeeper and just see how it does. It's got taunt too, so it's got multi-function, even standalone, it's decent. I have this Argus in there just because at one point I had so many really nice minions that are upgraded, and I was just like dying, right? Just to tempo decks. So I kind of threw in there just to maybe get it on a Yip, get it on a Rot Face, that sort of thing. But the most fun I have playing this deck, it's by the way, just got Dr. Boom in it. It's got Yip in it, Rot Face, 2 bulldozers, which is new, and then the Boom Ship. The most fun I have is playing Boom Ship, and the bulldozers come out, and whatever, Rot Face or Yip, because the bulldozers instantly remove huge thing. Like I feel like the Divine Shield is with the rush is like incredible, like having that go together. And when you can, obviously have that huge play where you get like that much value from 9 mana, then it just becomes like an incredible swing turn. Bulldozers coming out with even Woe Cleaver is great, and I generally don't play it for 9 mana, but when it comes out like in those different ways, it's like great. And obviously Doctor Boom can give it rush too. So yeah, this deck's been really fun. I think I'm like 8-2 with this deck or something like that. So it's been good so far, and it's like super fun because it has those huge value plays at the end, which I'm just a sucker for. But have you played anything like this yet, or no?
No, I will definitely play it tomorrow.
Yeah, the bulldozer.
Um,
I think the bulldozer boom ship thing. I feel like is kind of an interesting find.
I like the bulldozer. I always
Yeah.
discover it after Doctor Boom from like the Omega
Hmm.
assembly and stuff
Right.
because it just kills anything and you can magnetize it afterwards. It's just super good.
Oh, with a divine shield for 9 damage is amazing with rush. Like that synergy is amazing. So you can kill giants with it. You can kill, like you can kill a lot of things that normally would be problematic. So yeah. Anyways, give it a try. I think the only thing that I wish I could do more is like get a little bit more armor. Like at one point I had the 2/2s that give you armor based on your opponent's minions, but it'd be kind of nice, especially with Yip and all. But you do have the rover. The rover surprisingly gets you a lot of armor if you play it right, and but that's about the only thing. I mean, it's got a lot of tweaking to do, but there's a lot of variations of this deck. Like when we were doing the archetype, like our archetype session definition type of thing that we always look at how the clusters are looking. The warrior cluster with all of these like mech and recruit and stuff was like it was like this big ass cloud of decks, which was really really interesting to see that how many there actually are. Because on the site you just see like recruit, you just see this like archetype, right? You don't actually realize that there's so many. There can be so many different versions of it sometimes. So the other deck I was playing is the Ent version of Token Druid because Token Druid is just still super strong. Like the exact same Token Druid that was good in Witchwood was crushing it like in the first I think 8 hours of the expansion. So not much had to change, but I decided just to play this one that had a lot of different things in it, or at least more different things. And so it has all the Ent stuff. So it has Dendrologist, has landscaping. It's got the Mulch Muncher. I definitely wanted to make sure I tried that one. And I think that's about it, actually, in terms of the new cards. But yeah, I mean, it's super strong. All the elements of Token Druid still there. Like, it's very, very resilient. Not playing the Gloop, which, I think I probably should be playing the Gloop because it's just amazing how crazy good that card is. But this version, I mean, I only lost one time. I played like 10 games with it. I only lost one time. So it's pretty darn good, too. Have you played any Token Druid or any Druid at all so far?
Absolutely. Yesterday, because
Yeah.
HSReplay.net told me that Token Druid is by far the best deck I should play,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it's basically I might consider it one of the best decks in the game, at least right
Yeah, I
now.
think so. I think so too.
It's like Giggling Inventor really boosted the power level. It's
Hmm.
basically the old Token Druid plus Giggling Inventor.
Yeah.
You just have like way more setups. You have easier like board floods, and it's good versus aggro. But again, like before, you beat control if they can't clear your tokens. And like decks like Big Spell Mage will still struggle against it, or Shadowwalk Shaman, and
Yeah.
it's just it has very good matchup.
It's definitely in the
Spread.
top 5 decks. So like right now, I think even today it's doing better. So we'll get to the top 5 decks in here in a second in Metapulse. But yeah, I agree with you though. I think it's going to be here for a long time. It's like one of those decks that feels already super refined. Like it doesn't need much more. It's kind of like Cube was going into Witchwood. It was just already really really good. So maybe one card, maybe two cards, but that's about it.
One interesting thing is because you said the Gloop you should probably play. I played it quite a bit, and I didn't like the Gloop so much.
Oh really?
I ended up cutting it for Naturalize because you kind of need
Wow.
to
Okay.
you need to have like the removal for big stuff, oftentimes for tempo,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of druids that people play, and they just ramp out big minions so quickly,
Yeah.
and to get through taunts and stuff. And obviously it helps for fatigue because on ships you have to fatigue. And yeah, the Gloop was weird because it, people just naturally play around it because you oftentimes will not have like the optimal scenario where you just swipe a bunch of tokens. Maybe it has also something to do that Odd Paladin is not very popular, and the aggressive decks that are played right now usually play few threats at a time, or like they just play too quickly. Let's say Zoo, if they go for the Happy Goal opener, they do it on turn one. Then Gloop will just not happen. Like when is it gonna? Because it requires you to have a setup, right, for it to be good. So it was too
Yeah.
conditional, I think.
Well, I
That
mean,
is
it's conditional, but I mean, I think there's a couple conditions, right? Obviously, you mentioned one, which is the swipe, and it's like a, very aggro deck, like an odd paladin that you're playing against. But also, like if people throw up large tons, now you can just crash all your, your stuff into it and just refill your board again, and just reset again with what you had before. So it gives you that scenario, which you didn't have before, and the mirror matchups are a hoot, man. They're hilarious. When you got all the soul force and all the tokens kind of going against each other, it's pretty fun to play. But I think it's still super good. I don't think it's overrated yet. But it sounds like you might think it's overrated.
No. Yeah, I think it's just too conditional that you just don't need it. And Token Druid doesn't have like so many resources. You have like very limited resources, and you have to choose your spots. And usually, if your board gets uncontested, you just win. You don't really want to like spend 20 mana in a turn. This is what Gloops enables you in some scenarios. So I just feel
Yeah.
like it didn't help my game plan. Very similar to like Unstable Evolution in Shadowbox Shaman,
Yeah.
which is a very powerful card, but it didn't help my game plan. And this is how I
Right.
look at it.
No, I think that's a sign of the design too. I think that's good. It's designed so that there's a little catch to it, right? Like you can't like refill an attack with the same turn. It's usually just resetting the board for the next turn. More so, and it's not like Savage War that all of a sudden makes whatever your board is super good too. So super interesting design, but great tool though still for druids to play around with. Okay, well, why don't we move into talking about the general meta? So we've had 24 hours. What's great, obviously about HSReplay.net is that we're one of the only people, if not the only people, that can outside of Blizzard to actually be able to show some type of representation of the meta. And we've got 24 hours worth of stats at this point, and I think I made some of these queries. Probably I would say 20 hours in, maybe 18 hours in, just because I had to kind of prep the. I had an article today that I posted to that the Pulse, but you can kind of see the power rankings just by class, and then you can see kind of the class popularities here. And power rankings, Warlocks on top, not that surprising given how powerful Zoo is. I don't know if you got a chance to play with Zoo. I literally tried to play a bunch of stuff yesterday.
I mean,
so.
I played against Zoo all day, every day.
Yeah.
So
Oh
that
my
was enough
god,
for
it's
me. I
so
didn't want to
good.
play Zoo mirrors all day.
Yeah, Zoo is just super good right now. I think all like the new cards that Warlock got really synergize well with Zoo, and you can really feel it if you're playing it.
I want to point out that this is very good and very important for game balance to have a deck like Zoo being very good. I think
Yeah.
it's very important to keep, so we don't have like this Shadowhawk meta where everyone plays
Yeah.
Shadowhawks and Deadman's Hand Warrior
Megathune.
and
Megathune.
Archbishop as the Tooth Priest. We don't want such a meta. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, as niche decks, sure, but not as the meta.
Yeah. Oh
Zoo
my
meta
god.
is fine.
Benedictus Priest, so viable in the meta would just destroy me, man. It'd take forever to play games. But yeah, so looking at the power rankings too, most of it's pretty even out. I mean, really the biggest things to talk about are Warlock and then Priest. Like huge drop off with Priest at the bottom there, and it's pretty interesting because I think a lot of folks were talking about Priest and this is power ranking. This is an actual popularity. If you look at popularity, Priest is actually terrible too. I can understand people not playing Priest because it just seems kind of boring. Like I think some of the new tools seem to draw the game out even
Um,
longer and play that kind of style. But it turns out that even that kind of style, I don't even think is winning very much. So
I
it's kind of
I have to
crazy.
add, because just from experience.
Mhm.
So basically, when a new expansion comes out, aggro decks are always the strongest decks because those are the easiest decks to build, easiest decks to refine, and usually the power level is not much lower than the best actual decks in the game. And Priest is by far the hardest deck class to build a good deck. It is so complicated to build like the best combo priest decks or big priest decks or
Yeah.
quest priest decks. Like it takes so much time to optimize this list. And 2 days into the new meta, when you don't even know how to take your priest, it's up. This is not surprising at all. But I don't think priest is that bad yet. Like for sure
Oh
not. I just
yeah.
think it's super hard to build.
I
Like
think
you have so many.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it's indicative is like what you said. It's just well, it's not just hard to build. I think that the decks that people are building are super hard to play too. Like that combo priest is not easy to play. I think the ceiling on that deck is super high. Just even watching people play it, I haven't gotten a chance to actually try it, but from what I could see, it definitely it's one of the higher ones, at least in terms of combo type of decks. And then the other ones, like you said, I mean, like the other tools that you kind of are able to utilize, I think people just haven't really figured out. Like, I think Priest might be in good shape to react to whatever meta ends up, solidifying. And then, because they have the ability to heal like immensely. So if it does turn into a fairly aggressive meta, then Priest can tech towards, basically beating that. But if it turns into more of a, like just say Mecha'thun's good for whatever reason, I don't think that's good for Priest. I mean, I guess they
Like,
can build their own Mechathune type of deck.
yeah, but they can also just try to go like a combo or TK route, right? And just kill you with enough fire with like 50 damage or whatever.
Yeah, I guess
Priest
the old,
can,
like Valen's, yeah, I guess probably Valen type of thing. But
yeah, Priest can be built in a infinite value way, in a just kill you way,
yeah,
or like an anti-aggro way with dragons and Duskbreakers and stuff. So
yeah,
it really depends on the meta.
yeah. But definitely the card that I felt like was really interesting when we were doing the review, has turned out to be, in fact, yeah, pretty good, or at least in terms of maybe the key thing in Combo Priest, which was the 2 mana. God, what was it called? I can't even remember now. The 0/2, the zero
That it
two.
comes back.
Yeah, yeah. The what is it called? Jeez, I'm like, can't remember now. But it's a 0/2 that basically any spell that you cast on it, like you get back. So people are topsy turvying, or they're divine spiriting, topsy turvying, and then also vivid nightmaring to create more divine spirit. That's what's cool, is that they're using the card to actually generate more spells. So
It's, by the way, it's a 1 mana card. It's
oh,
test.
is it 1 mana? Oh, whoops. It's what
Yeah,
is it again?
test subject.
Oh, test subject. That's what it is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was 2 for some reason. I don't know why I was thinking that. But yeah, so they've been using it in a very, very interesting way to just generate more divine spirits. And those of you who haven't seen the combo priest, it's like they have one stone tusk board that looks like it's like doesn't belong in the deck. But and everything else seems like, okay, I understand what it is. And then you realize, oh, they're getting like 8 divine spirits and then casting it on that board. And then, topsy turvying and vivid nightmaring kind of thing. So it's it's pretty funny, actually, like watching them do it. Watching all the streamers like run out of time is the funniest thing ever to watch. But anyways, yeah. Getting back to the priest, there's a reason why. It's just one of those classes. There's always a class like this in every first day of the expansion where just doesn't seem to be very interesting things. I think last expansion it was warrior, right? There just wasn't anything that's super cool to try out, and I think priest just happens to be there this time. I mean, look at the popularity. It's like 4%. I mean, that's really low. In Warlock, 26.6% is super high. So, I think that all this stuff will normalize in the next week or so. It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. So any of this surprise you? Anything? It's like day one.
As I mentioned, like the Mega Assembly surprised me as
Well, I
how
mean,
powerful it is.
at least
And
just these classes. Like any of these surprise you?
no,
Mhm.
because control decks, as I've mentioned, are just so much harder to build. And I think
Yeah.
like Druid is kind of like combo. It's kind of like hard to build, but the decks are already made from the pre-expansion, right? Like Maligos Druid, Togwaggle Druid, we had these decks. The Mecha'thun Druid is also very, very similar. It's just like you add a few cards, right?
Well, you add a win condition. That's all you do. You add the 5 cards that give you the win condition.
Like the deck is already there, right? And the core cards of Druid are always the same. All the ramp cards and Nourish and Ultimate Infestation, and then you just change a few cards. So that doesn't really surprise me. Druid is very easy to build as a deck. It's probably hard to optimize it. So it surprised me that like Jackie Chan was playing it, the Mecha'thun Druid, that it is actually viable. Like,
yeah, I don't think Toast. I think Toast was like 100% at one point with it.
you don't expect these type of decks to be actually viable.
Yeah.
And it's actually so crazy because it works because you can just play the Mechatoon, and then you have the 4-mana card that copies your last played minion. And then
okay. Gloop,
then you
yeah.
play a 4-mana Mechatoon, and then it's so easy to kill it off yourself.
Oh, yeah, you could do that. I mean, what I was seeing the most was
I
just
was shocked how that really caught me off guard because the opponent played Mechatoon in a way Earthen Scales, and I'm like, okay, you just lose the game. And then the last card was like the
gloop.
the glue. Was it what is the 4-mana card called? It doesn't matter.
It's whatever gloop. It's something's
choice.
Or...
And you can empty your hand so easy because you have like so many cheap removal cards, and you draw your deck so fast with Auctioneer that it's actually a viable deck. I hope it's not very super powerful, because that's just another Shadow Shaman, right?
Yeah.
Just faster, more consistent. You don't rely on
Well, like you said before, I think Zoo keeps that in check. Like Zoo's fast enough to kill that.
I love Zoo. Oh my god, I love Zoo.
Yeah.
It's very powerful though. Like probably I don't know if it's too powerful yet. Because they gave Zoo basically a 3-mana Serenite Chain Gang. And like if you get Kalisev now at Zoo,
dude, forget Kalisev. You get we're about to talk about, but if you get the Soul Infusion too, it's like super great. So I think Zoo. We'll get there in a second. We're actually literally right after this is we're going to be talking about Zoo. But yeah, so okay. This is kind of what it looks like today. We're going to do it again tomorrow. Like I'm going to be, either posting on Twitter or posting another article, like really showing how things went up and down like every day this week. So
another thing that surprised me is definitely Hunter. Hunter seems to be fairly decent.
I played zero Hunter. I have no idea how good Hunter is right now in this new expansion.
Same, like no idea, no clue. Like fast Hunter, mid-range Hunter, like new recruit Hunter, no clue.
When I looked at the just the like let me see if I can just bring it up here. Like when we were looking at just the clustering last night, I mean Hunter just kind of looked a lot of the same. Like there was a lot of similar things all grouped up together. Not as much variety as some of the other classes. So let me see if I can bring that up real quick. It doesn't look too different right now. Like if you guys go to the site HS Replay, you can kind of see how things are clustered. If you ever are curious, you can go here. I'm just bringing up the browser right here. Yeah, you can kind of see how these popular archetypes. I mean, the ones that are at least being played by a lot of people are clustered up, and I wouldn't say that there's a lot of stuff just kind of feels mid-range Hunter. There's varieties, different variances of it. Like there's some Mech in it, there's some Recruit in it, Death Rattle in it. Obviously, Spell Hunter's pretty different, but everything, it's like it's all kind of mid-range play though. It's not. So Hunter's just not very dynamic right now, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and it's I don't know. It's one of the reasons why I think not. At least I'm not playing it. It's just because it doesn't seem to be anything that's super different about it. But yeah, definitely, check that out. There's definitely a lot of interesting things to look at on that Discover page if you're ever curious how things are clustered up. But talking about the top 5 decks now, actually going back to here again. Let me bring that up. Where is that? Here we go. Okay, now we can start talking about some of these I think decks we've been trying to hold off on, like Zulok. And Mill Druid is the one that's on top right now, 60%. I think it's changed a little bit in the last 6 hours, so I think we might see some differences. Paladin's up here now too, so again, this was done earlier this morning, and things changing fast. But Mill Druid, Token Druid, we got even Shaman up here too, Spell Hunter, and then Zulok, earlier today. So yeah, you mentioned the Mill Druid. It's already pretty refined. I definitely have been seeing a lot of streamers playing it. I played this last expansion. I thought this deck was, not viable, but not complete meme either. Something in that tier 4 range. That might eventually get up there. But
another thing about this deck is why it is performing so well is I think it plays exactly the same as Malygos Druid, and then you expect like Malygos Druid, and like you even see Starfall.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, this must be Malygos Druid. And then you don't, pay attention to your hand size, and then you get waggled. But what is very, very annoying is that with the new 7-mana card, you basically have a guaranteed Togwaggle Azalina combo.
Yep, that's the biggest thing.
If you play any slow deck, you just lose to that. It's so frustrating. Like, there's no interaction.
I'm actually surprised that they did that. I mean, he's talking about the Florist, the Dead Petal Florist. I mean, it definitely hits one of those cards. Like, these are like the only minions outside of Tyrant in this deck. So I guess Thalanos too is in this deck. But you can play those cards like easily to have it miss. And then if you get it early, you can just play it early, and it just discounts it to 1 or whatever. So you're guaranteed to get that Azalina and King Togwaggle combo, where before it was much harder, right, to navigate it. And I'm actually surprised they created the Dead Petal when they have the Biology Project, which actually makes it a little bit more possible too, just with some of the previous discounts that you could get.
But
so
but you had like the Skulking guys counterplay at least, or you just pay attention to your hand size because they're required to have
that's true. Yeah.
Naturalize. But now there's no counterplay to it.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is play an aggro deck like Zoo and just rush them down.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to pull off too. I mean, I guess there is a little nuance to the actual fatiguing part of it, but it's fun to play. So if there's a deck that's super fun to play right now, you should play this deck. It's definitely very different. It's a different style of playing Hearthstone, even a different style of playing Mill. It's super different. But from that standpoint, it's great. But I'm just surprised how easy it is to pull off. And these type of decks, kind of dangerous when they're easy to pull off.
Bring back Dirty Red, please.
Yeah, exactly right. So there's the Token Druid that we talked about earlier. This is pretty much exactly old Token Druid with Giggling in it. And so pretty good. It's definitely still good. Even Shaman was surprising. Like I didn't actually realize even Shaman kind of snuck in there. Still good. A deck that's just full of a bunch of good solid cards still works. And they have, another, I guess, 2 new cards here. The Thunder, what was that? Thunder, I can't read that. Thunderhead. The Thunderhead, that helps you put down like 3 minions on the board. So maybe you can Sea Giant the next turn, or even if you need to fight off like Odd Paladin, those extra tokens can fight them off because they have Rush.
I actually faced like a Maligos OTK Shaman in the last game of my stream today, and he played 2 Thunderheads, and I'm like, man, this is such a powerful board control card. You might want to play this even in Shadowwalk Shaman. With any Overload card, it just helps you control the board. Like even if you go like Thunderhead plus Lightning Storm or something, it helps you clear up the board. It just seems like a very, very, I think, underrated card as well.
I think so too. I think it's a pretty underrated card now that I've kind of seen it in action some, and it's just good even if you don't remove anything. Even if you get like 3 cards on the board, I mean that's great too, especially with this deck particularly. So, yeah, I mean this deck pretty much just chips away at you, and eventually does a little bit of a big whack at the end there, with Alakir or something like that. But so I think it fits really, really well. The Arcanode is this? Wait, what is it? Arcane Dynamo, I think is what it's called. Yeah, Arcane Dynamo. It's pretty interesting too. I haven't had experience with it, so I don't really know what kind of cards you can hit. But I'm thinking if you can, it hits any spells that are 5 mana or above. So I'm thinking, if you hit like a Bloodlust, or if you hit any Mage cards, it's probably pretty good for you. So these cards seem to fit pretty well in this, and just shows you that even Shaman's still a super strong base, even with this new expansion. Then we got Spell Hunter here, which, I think Spell Hunter is probably still the most consistent Hunter deck, even with just all the talk of Recruit and Death Rattle we've seen, in recent weeks and months. Spell Hunter seems to always just be lurking like right in that tier 2, mostly tier 2 range, bottom of tier 2. And now it's gotten, another card that helps him draw secrets. So it makes maybe the lesser Spellstone even more consistent than it used to be. Yeah, what do you think of Spell Hunter? Like, when's the last time you played Spell Hunter, Gaara?
Right before the expansion, because
really?
Okay. HSReplay told me to play it. And I also played a lot of Even Shaman because HSReplay told me to play it, and it was pretty good.
Nice.
I had like insane win rates, except with the Spell Hunter. It was like the only miss from HSReplay since I started doing that.
Okay.
I'm surprised by how accurate it is. The only really miss was Spell Hunter, just because like I should have played even Shaman from like rank 5 to rank 2,
Yeah.
which I did, and I had insane win rate. And then from rank 2 to 1, I should switch to Spell Hunter, and I did, and it just didn't work. Just because people can play around all the secrets so easily. Like,
Yeah.
it's supposed to counter Odd Paladin with like explosive traps and stuff, but they just don't attack, and then they go level up, and then they blow you out. It's just, it doesn't work. Like,
well, they know how to play around it. That's the biggest thing, right? So I think it's only tougher that like that. But if if they're for whatever reason they're playing like it's a death rattle, hunter, sometimes you can still surprise them and burn them down. There's not like a ton of heal right now.
I
Outside of
think it
priest,
punishes these unrefined decks as well, like these greedy decks.
Yeah,
like
no, that too.
you just curve out into the spellstone, and then if they don't have an answer,
I still think just generally your burn is decent. I mean, there is heal across the board, but I wouldn't say it's at its high right now. Like at least some of these decks that people are trying, and especially the aggro decks. I mean, obviously they don't have any heal on them, but this deck seems to just have enough burn to kill you, even with having healing options. So it's still right on the edge, I think. And I don't think you can improve it too much more. I think this is about as good as it gets. Like, there's not many spells that you can add that are gonna, continue this archetype. But we'll see if it continues.
I think it will fall off, because I think it will lose to the aggro decks. Like, it is supposed to counter the aggro decks, but I think the new Zoo is just so powerful that I don't think that Spell Hunter beats it. And then what do you really beat? It's like a deck that beats Warrior just because of Rexa. It can beat all the greedy decks, but it also counters the aggro decks. But I don't think it counters the aggro decks anymore, at least in theory.
Yeah, I mean it's basically supposed to kind of like outlast the aggro decks, right? And now moving on to Zoo, moving on to this new Zoo lock. I mean, it's pretty hard to outlast the Solarium. Now that they have the Solarium, which gives them another free, like another turn of draws, and just play everything that you draw essentially. It just gives Zulok even more ammo on top of the ability of just like improving just the gameplay it was already built on, which is just having these solid minions on the board, fight for board, and then just continue chipping away at you. You mentioned it earlier, right? Kelsa hitting something. That Soul Infusion is like +2/+2 on something in your deck, and if it hits on your Serenite Chain Gang or the doubling imp, man, you're golden. Like it's over basically. So yeah, talk about this Zoo deck a little bit more as to why it's so much better.
This is already like an outdated list, and the expansion just came out yesterday.
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
The deck got already improved, I think 3 or 4 times, and now you don't play the Life Drinkers anymore.
Yeah.
Some people don't play the Doom Guards. I think that's a mistake, but yeah, the deck gets more and more refined. Some people play Leroy. Like, if you buff the Leroy, you just have like this crazy burst out of nowhere. But yeah, you just like you said, you have now with the imp a 3-mana Serenite Chain Gang, and it has great synergy with the buff spell. Like, if you hit the imp, it's insane. If you hit the Chain Gang, it's insane. If you hit Kelesif now on 2, you have like an even crazier way to high roll. Like, you don't even have to wait for Serenites. You can do it already like 1 turn earlier through the imps, and your like overall board refill is crazy powerful. Like, you can just hold back resources just because the imps give you like so many resources. And like, if you just hit the Serenite or the imp with the spell, like you can just play very few resources to just have a very, very threatening board. And that makes it so powerful against control decks, that want to just clear your board, because you need so many board clears.
I mean, I even played on a Voidwalker, and like I even had Soul Infusion hit a Voidwalker, and it's good. It's like that's not even bad, and that's one of the worst things that can happen to you. Maybe a Kobold Librarian would be worse, but yeah, like you can't really go wrong with that card. It's so easy just to hit a minion with that. Like, there's barely any spells in this deck. It's like literally Soulfire and nothing else. So you're going to be hitting something of value.
And Zoo was already played before the expansion, and with this expansion, it just got buffed. And another very random fun fact is, like, they got the best legendary spell, arguably, at least right now, with the Solarium. Like, if you compare the Solarium to the Mage Luna Pocket,
Yeah.
Like, how can you compare those two cards? Like, Lunar Pocket is so slow, it gets hard countered by like aggressive decks or like slow, fast play, and then Solarium is just, it's so insane. Like, it's like another Kalasev high roll card, right? If you top deck it, you're like, bam, just play it and just flood whatever you draw. It's so strong.
But you get, and even if you don't for whatever reason play it, like, you know, I don't know, people play Doomguard or people play people play Doomguard and Soulfire because they're going to discard it anyway. So it's like it's totally synergistic with the deck. And something that somebody's asking. So if you can't see the fine text down here, basically these decks are based on rank 4 to legend. Kind of always get rid of just the rank floors now. So you know, these are basically the best decks from yesterday into, like, you know, maybe the morning today. So again, like Gaara was saying, there's already been, you know, like modifications to this already, even in the short time, and we're going to be seeing like a different list. We'll probably do this list again tomorrow, and it's going to look completely different.
Something that I find really, really interesting. People are playing the new 1-drop that damages you by 5 and gives you 5 armor.
Really?
Because then you can heal yourself easier. And like, you had a lot of overheal in that deck.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because armor is better. It's actually so interesting.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Like, this Zoo will be insane. I think Zoo is not going anywhere for the next 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's my prediction. Like, I can't see Zoo like getting crushed by, like, you know, some.
Well, you know why they have that one spell that damages you, right, and gives you armor instead. Like, we came up with a new name for one of the archetypes. I ended up suggesting the name Pain Warlock, so we ended up using it.
Oh yeah.
So,
Pain Warlock is great.
Pain Warlock is the one where you damage yourself, so that because there's cards in, you know, like cards that you're using that actually benefit from you damaging yourself. So that you know, includes the card that it gets +1, right, every time it gets damaged. So what is that called? It's like a 1/5, right? That gets buffed. Like the battle cries like get buffed. Like but that card, obviously the
crystallizer.
Yeah, the crystallizer.
That's exactly. the armor guy, the crystallizer.
Hooked Reaver, obviously, too. So it's really interesting. You know, Warlock has even has a Mechathune deck that people have been trying to run too. So there's you know, I think right now Warlock seems to be you know, decent, well-rounded in terms of like having super good options in terms of just winning outright, and even just like fun options. So that's kind of one of the reasons why it's so popular right now. So yeah. Anyways, check that out, guys. One thing I do want to I don't know if you guys knew or not, is that we've been doing a giveaway for Boomsday Project packs, 100 of them, in fact. And for those of you that might have been opening packs yesterday and didn't get the cards that you wanted, this is the last day. Like the giveaway ends in about 5 hours from now. And if you type in the command giveaway, if you're in Twitch chat right now, you can you know, you can definitely enter it. I'll link this here in chat too, just in case you guys need it. But you can kind of see that, yeah, you can just enter. It's free. You know, all those typical ways to enter a giveaway, and we'll get you the 100 packs like as soon as tonight. You know, we'll you know, probably send you a code so that you can get them right away. And we were doing giveaways before where we would try to like gift it to people, but it takes like a week to actually gift somebody something because they want to protect against obviously folks that are trying to, I don't know, steal other people's accounts and do that sort of thing. So we figured out, you know, at least a decent way to try to get folks to give away or at least the packs sooner. So yeah, take part, guys. We'll probably do the drawing either later tonight or early tomorrow morning, and then we'll announce the winner. And somebody's gonna be lucky enough to get 100 packs. How many packs did you buy yesterday, Gar? We didn't even start off with this.
I haven't bought any packs. I pre-ordered on all 3 servers, so that's like 80, and then spent all my gold, which is like another 200 packs or something.
So wow, you get 20,000 gold. Oh my god, I usually
like I play on 3 servers. So like...
Oh, you mean together, or you mean 20 each?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like
nice
enough. But I would probably buy more just because I have to. I just got to play so few new decks, so I didn't get a chance. Like when you get into the niche decks like Priest, where you have to craft a ton of cards, probably another reason why so few people are playing Priest. If you want to play like the new big Priest or whatever, it's so expensive, and because it was not meta, you have to craft all these old legendaries as well.
Right.
And this is why nobody's playing it, I think.
Yeah.
the low popularity. Like you don't have the cards, and then you look what you need. Like, oh, come on, screw it. Yeah, a lot of new pack, and I really enjoy the free legendaries. So I got like
Yeah.
on all three servers combined, the 9 legendaries, and 3 of them is golden. So if you get
Nice.
lucky, you get like a meta card.
Hmm.
I really wanted Dr. Boom in golden. Unfortunately,
Me
they didn't.
too. Me too. I, I think Dr. Boom was one of the last ones that I got. And Dr. Boom was probably the only legendary that I felt this expansion I just really, really wanted to play on day one. So
Uh,
it was kind of brutal, like waiting for it.
One card I'm kind of dying to play is Subject 9. I got him in golden.
Really? Okay.
It's like it feels like, man, it has so much potential. Like
What
it
like
is a
what?
good
Like
card.
yeah, I'm kind of curious.
Like either in Mage and with like Kirintor mages and stuff, and like play Arcanologists and Kirintor mages, like in a controllish playstyle. I wouldn't play it like too aggressive, but just something, because on paper it's such a good card. Like 5 mana for draw 5 cards.
Yeah, and
It's
those of you
so
wondering what
good.
Subject 9 is, it's the card that like you draw 5 secrets but they're not played, right? Like you just get to
Yes,
draw 5 secrets.
5 cards. It's like a 5-1 ultimate infestation. It's so good. Like in terms of value,
Yeah.
it's so good. Like I
It'd be
just
even better if it
wanna
like
make it
played it
work.
though. Remember those cards that actually play the secrets? Like
It's like 5 mana mysterious challenger.
yeah, basically. Christmas tree for 6 mana. And you get a 6/6 body. Like compare that, man. Those were the days, right? Um, so I guess the next thing to talk about here is yeah, basically surprises and disappointments. Like any we definitely mentioned a few surprises. I think that I put down just a few. I mean, I talked about Dozer at Bulldozer, Soul Infusion, obviously a huge one, and we already talked about Journey and Rover, so we talked about 3 of mine at least. Anything that you might think is like you're surprised about or disappointed? Like anything completely overrated in your mind?
Disappointed is actually. I think people are just so good, or became so good at predicting like power levels of cards and how they work in the meta and whatnot.
Don't tell Trump that, dude.
We're not not gonna talk about that. Like what was it? What was the biggest meme? The 5-star, like the 0-star, the file? Yeah, 0-star bot here.
Yeah.
I like that one the
Oh
most.
man. Oh man.
That was great. Disappointed in that Druid got like probably the arguably strongest cards. Not it's debatable yet, but the Druid is so strong for so long. Like since the beginning of time, since Alpha, Druid is like arguably like top 2 or 3 classes in the game. The Druid got like such powerful cards once again. And now that you can like toggle, there's like a disappointment, but not in disappointment in terms of, oh, like this card, I thought it was better, but in disappointment in terms of like how I give Druid again like such powerful cards, and now you cannot interact with it, similar to the like
How
Mali Wiggle.
how
I don't know
how
if that's
crazy is it that Taunt Druid's been benched? Like, and you know what I mean? Even
yeah.
Malleus to a degree has been benched, and it's
Yes.
like, like nobody's using Twig anymore, or I don't think so.
You don't have to. I still
Yeah,
face
it's
Twig,
crazy.
but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like bro, you don't
like
have to play it.
Tier 2 decks that are being benched. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was similar when like Q block was so powerful, and what was it, Control Lock, that you didn't play Zoo. Like
Yeah.
Zoo came
Later, yeah.
live after the nerfs, right? Just because it was never really bad. It was just that Control Lock and Q block was so much better. Why would you play Zoo, right?
Well,
And then after
I think there was an innovation, right? Like the whole healing thing was definitely an innovation.
yeah, but why would you do it, right? Why would you innovate that when Q block and Control Lock are so powerful? Like before the nerfs, there was no
Well, there's
room
always
for
a reason to innovate. So that's a mentality that I think most people take, and that's why most people are just net deckers, right? Like
Yeah.
the people that actually innovate are the ones that keep staying ahead and keep really pushing the meta. Because if people don't innovate, then it just stays stagnant and nothing happens. So
like
we need people
like
that do that.
the juicy Psycho Melon is also so strong, and you don't see that much
I haven't
play.
seen that yet. Like
I saw
haven't
it
seen a single person
in
play it yet. Yeah, like
I saw it in Togwaggle just because it draws you the full combo.
okay.
It's so
I guess that's
dumb.
true.
It draws you Ultimate Infestation. No, not a mini. It draws you like Azalina and Togwaggle. That's like the big deal. You have this guaranteed, and it draws you the Resurrect guy, like the Reduce guy. It's
the florist.
the florist.
Is the floor? Oh yeah, the florist is 7 mana, right? So
Yeah.
I thought
It's
Azalina was 7 mana too, though.
yeah, but you still guarantee like if you draw 2 things, then you basically can already set it up guaranteed on one of them. But you don't even have to play it. Like the list is apparently like so stacked that you don't even have the room. It's kind of like similar with the board clears in Warlock. You have so many good board clears that you cut freaking Joffrey because you have no room. It's very similar with Druid. Druid has so much good card draw that you don't play this juicy cycle alone. You just have enough. You don't need more. You put manifestation.
I mean, it's surprisingly not that hard. You know, like once you actually are used to playing the deck, you know, used to the plays and used to things to look for, it's not that hard. So that's the part that kind of a bummer, because you would think that this type of deck would be along the lines of a priest, you know, the priest combo right now. You know, it takes a lot of skill to kind of pull it off, and when you do pull it off, you pull it off with style. You know, it's like really, really cool. But you know, when things like that start to get a little bit easy, that's the tough part. And the Mechathune, we didn't even talk about Mechathune. Mechathune's deck is solid. Like it's fairly consistent too. Like being able to draw through your deck. It's not super consistent, or
and also play all cards.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird to just play all cards.
Yeah, I mean, people are doing it without Hemet. I didn't think it would be. I didn't think it would be possible to do an Azalina King Toggle without a Hemet, like pre this expansion.
So fast as well.
Yeah, so it's really amazing.
Oh, the biggest surprise for me is like I faced it today a little bit. Like when I woke up, I faced 3 Tempo Mages in a row. But besides that nobody's playing like the new I think there was like most hyped up aggro deck with the unexpected results. I've not faced unexpected results a single time yet.
Oh yeah, I haven't either.
Mage. I think this is just
I tried playing Tempo Mage early yesterday. It was so bad for me. Like I could not do anything to anybody. I don't know. Like I've definitely seen some people win recently, but for some reason yesterday I was like 0 for 5 or 0 for 6. I was like, screw this, I'm not playing this anymore.
And I got so nutro in all 3 games that I got absolutely auto destroyed. Like they emptied their hand turn 4.
Really? Okay, see that never happened to me. Like I never had
Yeah,
that
I know.
It's like they have like 5 health minions and shit on the board, and I have to like Cinderstorm into crap like that. You know, like it's like that's not happening. I'm not doing any damage to this guy. So yeah, I think I just had bad luck, because you know, most of the time like the trends kind of stick. They're consistent. And one of the trends is that Tempo Mage is consistently good on the first day of the expansion. So it could have been just me. I mean, if I look at HS Replay right now, what does it say? Like Tempo Mage. I don't know if it shows up. Let me see. Maybe top rank 5 or something. Let me see. Tempo Mage. Yeah, Tempo Mage isn't even. Yeah, Tempo Mage is tier 3, 49%. So maybe it's better at Legend. You think it's better? Let me see.
I think it's just overall a very, very powerful deck. It's just that nobody plays it yet.
It's 50.31% right now.
Maybe we need Epic's Void to make like the optimal list, which will definitely happen.
Yeah, well, APX Void, I'm sure will do something crazy and make it super good.
It has like all the tools, right? It has all the cards, just assemble it. And another surprising thing, which was like caught me off guard, how powerful it was, is like the bright neutral crawler, the rogue 4 mana Death Rattle that gives you poisonous plus rush. How crazy that is with Sonya. Wow, like I played Big Spy Mage.
Wow.
I had Alana, like a full board, and then he played this plus Sonya and just cleared my board. And it was like, what the hell?
That's crazy, man. Because
you get it back and it has poisonous and rush, right? So you can just keep. It's like the best board clear in the game. You can clear everything. You could clear a Hadronok's board just because you keep charging in, right? It's crazy how powerful that is.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But nobody really thinks about it. Like it's so insane.
Yeah, we barely even talked about Rogue. Rogue's actually really good right now. I think that Odd Rogue, straight Odd Rogue is like really good pressure deck. You know, kind of like Zoo is, right, on a lot of these control decks. And then on top of that, you have these interesting variations that are, you know, I think just in the beginning levels of being figured out combo wise, right, with Cube and the Death Rattle. I think Death Rattle Rogue will eventually be something.
I faced 3 Pogo Hopper rogues.
Pogo Hopper too. Yep.
And he got the Pogo Hopper to a 15-15 one game.
That's pretty impressive, man. Yeah, That's crazy. Now I was watching Tice play it earlier, and it's another one of those decks you got to really get used to, like seeing the plays, because they're not very obvious if you haven't played it. But that's so cool. It's like I mean they're all kind of like tempo decks with potential big plays in them. The pogo thing it's a little bit like playing Edwins, but you just have multiple Edwins. But for the most part, they have this, it's a very typical tempo rogue. It still has a lot of the elements that all the other rogues, at least the last expansion rogues had. People still playing Faldori Strider, like it's definitely aspects of that are the same. But I think there's a lot of tools right now in Rogue, just people haven't completely figured out yet. I saw some pickpocket rogues even in there somewhere, so some people are trying that out right now too. So yeah,
The craziest thing
Kingsbane. We've been
I've
talking about
seen.
Kingsbane, right? So
Oh yeah, that as well. The craziest thing I've seen so far since like what happened this expansion is like it's on Reddit front page. It's like someone went uh academic espionage, also prep espionage, and then top deck Jaina. So you play
oh
two
geez,
Jaina.
that's crazy, man.
That's
That's
just me.
super.
That's so funny. That's like what the hell? That's
Those
like
are
stronger than
dreams, man. Those are dreams.
there's like
Dreams
turn
were
two
made up.
concede, please.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
That's like the whole what other class cards would be amazingly broken in another class? That type of question. Um, but okay,
Yeah,
well, let's
but I
see.
think another surprising thing is
Cool.
that the power level of the legendary spells. I think they really finally learned how bad decays are for the game, for the health of the game, because decays are so much more powerful than any other card in the game that
Mhm.
they will always define the meta, right? Like you will always play Gul'dan in Warlock and like even in Zoo, just because it's so much more powerful than any other card. You will just a lot of games come down to, oh, I drew this decay and now you need your decay, else you lose the game. That and then we had the legendary weapons and they're very similar. You draw the legendary weapon, I play it like Skull of the Manari. You don't have a weapon removal, you will probably lose the game. Most likely lose the game. And that
Mm.
the legendary spells in terms of power level are much weaker than the other legendary decays or hero cards or legendary
Yeah.
weapons. I think they have also like a lot of skill cap to them and they have like downsides and very interesting, right?
Yeah.
Like the power level is much weaker for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that the DKs. I feel like the DKs. The reason they did the DKs was just that they wanted to make a very strong step forward for control. Like every one of those DKs are control winning conditions. Like even the ones that aren't played, they're all control winning conditions for the most part. And so I think that's why they kind of put that step forward. In retrospect, I think that the game's kind of balanced itself out, that they don't really need it so much. I don't know. I think Mage would be in trouble if they didn't have, Jaina.
Yeah.
Without Jaina,
But
like what is late game Mage? It's nothing. Like they would have to make, I mean, they'd have to make some kind of like high value minion at the end. So
and if
I,
you
I
go
still think it has
to
a place.
but if you compare like legendary weapons
Yeah.
to the
Legendary weapons
DKs,
is like they definitely didn't want this to impact games, as much. Well, the weapons were more of a tool. I felt like they were just super crazy good tools. But
I think they felt like okay, there's weapon removal in the game, so we
yeah,
can still make it super powerful. But it was still bad because if you don't have the weapon removal, these cards are just so powerful that you just lose the game.
but there's only like two of them like that are used. I mean, it's not.
No, the Hunter one is game winning. Skull of the Manara is
Yeah, I
game
guess the hunter
winning.
one is huge. Yeah.
The Rogue one is just you can build an entire deck around it. Of course, it's game winning. What else do we have? Like the Paladin one was like an even Paladin, like one of the most important cards. The
Yeah.
Warrior one is like also insane. Obviously insane.
Yeah,
If
but
you don't have,
they're not
they're
like.
up there. They're insane. Tweak, obviously. No, almost all of them are just game winning
Well,
good.
yeah, there are definitely, I would say, two or three that are deck defining. I think the other
Oh yeah,
ones
but
are
they're game winning.
just.
No, the power level is what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
power level. Okay, power level. Yeah, I think we're in agreement there. That power level's
But
super
and
high. Like,
then with the spells, they really went down with it though.
yeah.
They
No,
don't
the
just win you the
the
game.
the rogue card. What's cool about spell, especially in terms of the rogue, is that you can prep it. So you can do some crazy things with prep. The card that I like really like I saw like so many people using and using well was just the what's the spell that you double your death rattles or whatever? You know, like whatever you cast
Yeah,
it
the
on.
rogue 5 mana
Yeah,
spell.
exactly. That was a super good one when you cast it for 2. It's crazy,
Requiem
crazy good.
Bile.
Yeah, I had somebody put a Cairn down and just cast that on it like twice, and I was just like, oh, that sucked. That just like was basically Alana on me.
I
So
actually saw that on the new dragon that gives you 7/7 dragon, the mechanic whelp.
yeah, dude, that card is. I was gonna mention this, like I totally forgot, but I was gonna mention that's such a good card to get when you're playing warrior and you have Doctor Boom. Like if you get that from Omega, it's
Damn.
really really good because you can just crash and it dies, and then your 7 comes out and you immediately attack with it. You know, it's like feels like a recruit hunter type of play. So it's yeah, that's actually a really fun card. But I think it's only good when it has rush. It's not very good otherwise. Yeah. Um. Okay, well, one last question I had for you. Myra's Unstable Element. So I'm kind of on the fence about this card because I don't like every time I wanted to use the card, I felt like I didn't feel like it was the right time to use it. You know, like it's either too early and then like I felt like sometimes I waited too late. You know, like because I did. You have this whole sense. You know, like this part of you, or at least part of me, that doesn't want to waste any cards. You know, like I don't want to just burn the cards. You know, it's kind of like the tracking thing. It's like I don't want to just like get rid of these cards. So my question to you is that A, is Myers Unstable Element, you know, I guess still super good in your mind, and B, like when is the right moment to use it?
Like, in what kind of deck did you even play it? Like Otrok?
Uh, no, I was playing it in like different stuff. I mean, well, actually, no, I played a couple games in Odd Rogue, and then I also played it. I even played it in just like a combo type of rogue. Like I saw Killen playing some kind of double sword cube thing, so I wanted to try it. I think Leroy is the way to play it now. Like people play Leroy with this kind of cube rogue thing. And so I was kind of trying to use it in that just so I could draw maybe some combo pieces. But again, like I felt like I was in danger of burning cards, you know, that would be super important to me. So when's the right time to play it? That's my question to you because I'm not sure exactly what kind of deck to throw this into.
I think the problem with this, you want to play this in a super hyper aggressive deck to not to just close out games, just refill your hand. The problem is that if you play a 5 mana spell, you have an insane amount of tempo loss, and usually these aggressive decks rely on tempo to
Yeah.
close out games, and
Mhm.
then this is just like too much of a tempo loss. So I think people are not playing this card correctly yet or in the correct
Yeah.
decks. I think you really have to go like Sinister Strike, Cold Blood, 1 mana charge minions, like
Just get
these type
no,
of decks,
just like
and just go
sprint
like
basically. Yeah.
and or maybe even together with preparation.
Mhm.
Because prep plus this is like very cheap for 2 mana, because then you don't have so much of a tempo loss. You can still play like a Thug or something.
Right.
But I can imagine like a super hyper aggressive deck, and then you have this card. You will just draw damage. Like every single card you
Yeah.
will have in your hand will be damage, and then just go face.
Yeah. Just
But
have it measured
then
out pretty
and then it comes
accurately.
down
Yeah.
to, is that type of deck even good? Because
Yeah.
no, seriously, like
Yeah.
Zoo even out of all decks plays so much healing.
Mhm.
Like, what kind of decks can you beat now with just full face? Like the old school face hunter playstyle. That's why nobody plays
Mm,
Barco Hunter. Like all the
I
DKs
mean,
give you a lot of armor. The new Doctor Boom. All the warrior decks have like so much armor gain, like Barco Warrior.
yeah.
Uh,
Warriors for sure.
Zoo Aggro decks have, out of all decks, have insane amount of healing. Druid has like so much armor gain. Dude, I got
Yeah.
out armored by Maligos Druid with Barco Warrior, and I make so much armor and they still make more armor. How is that possible? I was thinking, like, I have literally tank up hero power and they make more armor than me. So I
Yeah.
think this type of playstyle just doesn't work in the game anymore, just because of all the healing and all the
Okay, so you
taunt.
don't think it is good at this point? I mean, you
It
can use
just
it for Megathune if you want to do some kind of Megathune thing, but outside of that, yeah, I'm definitely found myself confused as to like where to play
But in
this.
Mage works
Mhm.
though. Like Mage does this burn playstyle,
Yeah.
but you have these super threatening minions at the same time, and you have crazy tempo, right?
Hmm.
Like Sorcerer,
I
Mana
mean,
Worm.
Rogue's pretty fast, dude. I mean, you can. I mean, you're putting minions on the board that like actually scale. So, and for the most part, you're going face a lot. So it could work there, just as a but you'd have to have it measured out. You'd have to like probably commit to face super early, and then like have just enough damage to kill a guy, right? So
But another, yeah, this is, I compare this kind of like, yeah, it's a weird comparison, but I kind of like to compare it to Luna's Pocket. Like, I think it's a good card, but a 7 mana card do nothing is
yeah,
like pretty much unplayable. Like, it's so hard to get a 7 mana do nothing card out. Like,
yeah,
and
exactly.
it's basically a 5 mana do nothing. Yes, you draw cards, but you're playing like a tempo deck or an aggressive deck. Like, you can't afford to spend 5 mana to just draw cards. And then people will just play different against you because they know they will win fatigue, right? They could just kill your board and they will win. Like, they can use every single resource to just kill your board.
Yeah,
Because Otrok is still played in a board-centric way. Like, you win through minions on the board, not through face damage. You close out the game with Leroy and Coldbloods, but your main damage comes from the board. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's still too early to tell, right? It's like the expansion came out literally.
It was just more of like I was sitting there, man. I feel like this card's a good card, and I'm pretty sure most of the community was saying it's a good card too, but I don't know what to do with this card because it's it doesn't
Every
seem.
single
Yeah,
every single legendary spell seems very, very interesting to me.
yeah. I
All
mean,
of them. Like,
the biggest no-brainer is the Warlock one. The Warlock is like easily like you don't have to think about it. It's just good.
it's
So,
just good. But
yeah.
all the other ones are so complicated. Like, I can't even wait to see the first people playing the priest legendary spell because it is good.
Which one is that? I forget.
The summons a copy of every single minion in your deck. A 1/1 copy.
Oh,
For 9 mana.
the cloning thing, right?
Yeah.
Zerg's cloning thing. Yeah, that's true.
All the crazy things you can do with that. You can just OTK someone with 1 smite or like
Yeah.
2 smites.
Smite
And like
just-
Mind Blast, you can literally just OTK someone, but like nobody plays these decks yet. It's like there's only so many. It's not high in the priority list to build these type of decks. You know, like when you compare, like I played basically today the whole day, and I got to play like 2 or 3 decks.
Yeah,
It just
a
takes
while.
time.
Yeah, it takes weeks. I mean, we don't want it to be solved in one day, man. That is the
Yeah.
last thing we want. We want it to take weeks and weeks and weeks.
I wonder how many people are like, man, the first deck I'm gonna play is OTK Legendary Priest spell, OTK Priest.
Well,
Like that's
people were
my
trying.
#1 priority deck.
It wasn't the legendary spell, but people were trying combo priest a lot yesterday, and definitely didn't catch on. Given we saw the popularity was 4% for a priest,
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because the deck is
it's
expensive.
too hard. It's just super hard. Like people,
it's not even that
a lot of people play Hearthstone just mind dead. Like they just brain dead. They just kind of just play cards on curve. That's how they play. Like
if a big streamer plays Zoo, oh, then the ladder is full.
Yep.
I can do that too.
That's the influence, man. That's totally the influence people have. Okay, well, anyways, why don't we talk about I guess maybe get to some Q&A. If you guys have any questions, type them out in Twitch chat, and we'll definitely be sure to read a few of them out. In the meantime, though, we are going to be in the meantime, I want to kind of give a shout out to our patrons that support our show. They, if you are interested in becoming a patron, go to patreon.com/valuetown, and you can make a pledge today. But these folks have been supporting our show. Some of these people, like for a long time, been supporting the show. So definitely want to always spend a little bit of time giving a shout out to them. So Mike T, our legendary producer, Bryce L, David C, or Dave C, Dan S, Grant A, Chris B, Edo, Lee D, Gary D, Alex G, Jake C, Anticrisis, and GoTrix 2, just to name a few. Thanks so much, guys, for supporting us. And if you guys are interested in even just like following us, maybe this is the first time you're watching Valuetown and wondering why we talk about HSReplay.net so much. Valuetown is actually an HSReplay.net show now, so you can follow HSReplay at HSReplay.net, and we're trying to post like stats like just like every day, like once or twice. So if you follow the channel, you'll definitely start seeing that in your feed, and it might be something cool that if you like to discuss anything pertaining to stats, it'd be a good place to get that content right now. Okay, let's see. Any questions we got here? Nobody's asking questions. Come on, guys. Surely you got... Okay, thoughts on Shaman. Odd Shaman? Oh my god, I haven't even thought about Odd Shaman. Like, what is Odd Shaman? Let me see.
So many people asked me today about elemental mid-range shaman. If I have played that, no, I have not played that.
Man, the times I've played it, it's never been good, and I haven't seen that much improvement to it. You know, just in what they've added. So it's like one of those things that like it seems like it's good on paper, and it's just like super curved stone, but then you realize that they just don't have very much dynamic to it, and you know, if you miss curve, you're just dead. Like there's no way to get back on board, type of thing.
I'm so happy right now that Zoo is so good. Like because Shadowwalk Shaman got also so buffed, and no more face than you like Shadowwalk Shaman. New
Yeah.
expansion comes out, and can you imagine now facing like Shadowwalk Shaman and freaking Mulligan's Druid, like all the same
Oh my
decks, all
god. Yeah,
Paladin.
I beat Shutterwalk I think twice yesterday with Zoo, so it definitely does feel good. But getting back to the original question, Odd Shaman,
Yeah,
I
Odd
actually
Shaman.
have no idea what Odd Shaman would be right now. Like you're
Some people
missing
troll donated
huge.
me Odd Shaman before the expansion. It was like just so bad.
Yeah, I mean you're
It's
missing
like a
really
control
good
shaman.
cards. Like
Yeah, you
Control
miss
Shaman? Like what? Like
like
lightning
just like
storms and
weird. Yeah, it's
yeah.
just weird control win condition, and you play like random big threats. Uh, you can't even play the Hagata. You can
Yeah.
play Shadowwalk, but with value, not for TK because you have no Grumble.
Yeah.
It's just a really weird deck.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, so Jay Slimy said he's gonna post one in the I guess the ChanmanV Discord. So I'll check that out definitely later. Prime, what is it? Prime Mole? Yeah, Prime L or Prime Mole HS. Has anyone got an idea of what to do with the legendary Hunter spell? Oh yeah, that's that. That's the one that
that
you
spawns
play
things
the
from the
death
deck.
rattle things, right? And
And
then
they
they
attack
they
random
die.
things, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Then they die. I mean, generally it has. I thought about generally it would either be death rattle or poison, like one or the others. So you know, death rattle obviously it'll trigger it if you have some kind of great, you know, high value death rattle. So you know anything like Azalina or not Azalina, Katharina, or anything like that. You know, you could kill it. It sucks to lose the body though. You know, so you'd have to actually remove something and not die, right? And oh, I guess you could. Yeah, right. Yeah, you know, no,
Yeah.
actually, if it dies, it doesn't kill
It's
like the
just
death rattle.
the,
It just
the
it
the
just
thing
goes
is you
away.
don't have too many great death riddles right now.
Yeah,
Like I think it will become better eventually, you know, with the next
yeah,
expansions and stuff.
yeah,
Maybe we just don't have all the tools yet, but I can definitely see people just, you know, it's another deck that is super hard to build. You know how long it took that before we got Egg Hunter? It almost took like the entire 3 months. We didn't play Egg Hunter till like the last month
yeah.
uh,
I mean,
of the last expansion.
it also, you know, like it also requires the meta to be in a certain state too for you know something like the Egg Hunter to have been able to you know kind of have success. And if it was super fast, Egg Hunter would never have had success. You know, like it's because you know Shutterwalk was having some success at you know at these events
Yeah,
and
but people still played like Zoo in Odd Paladin and Odd
mhm.
Rogue and whatnot, and still it just took so much time to like have like this list, you know, that is can still outgreed all the other greedy decks and have a chance to beat aggro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just using the legendary spells for Hunter. Like we don't have good death elements. I'm pretty sure there's some niche deck, you know, like a super refined, optimized version where it's not bad. But
What? Odd?
no, for the spell, legendary Hunter
Oh,
spell,
legendary spell. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something.
Yeah, I
But
have
yeah,
no. To be honest, like,
it's
yeah,
just
not
yeah,
sure.
it's
Yeah, it's not a bad spell. It's just again, it's kind of expensive. You know, like you have to have a big
yeah.
play from it. Otherwise, it's especially as a hunter, you have to have big plays as hunter. So if you have inconsistency in that, then that card's not going to be played at all.
And like you
So
said, such decks are much better if the meta is slower. And right now, Zoo is all over the place. And right now, he's like your biggest problem is just survive turn one against Happy Ghouls.
right, right.
And the Hunter is usually not very good against Happy Ghoul.
Let's see. We got another question here. Um, let's see. M Wadsit. What's the best new deck and why is it Pogo Hopper Rogue? Is that the best new deck? I
Because
mean,
Bunny
see, the thing about Pogo Hopper Rogue is that there really isn't anything different except for the pogo hopper. Like we were talking, I was talking to my colleague about that, and it was just like, pogo hopper rogue is like the same as like all these other rogues, except for it has pogo hopper in it, literally.
Absolutely not, dude. I disagree
What?
100%.
Really? Like the ones
Because
that
he
we were
plays.
looking at.
Oh, because he plays Axe. He plays Axe. He plays Death Rattles. He plays Zonya. He plays
Oh, maybe you're
Valera.
talking about a different one then. Yeah, like
Yeah, like
there's a lot of
refined versions,
pogos.
yeah,
Yeah,
man. Like legend versions. I'm legend player, you know.
there's
Uh,
there's a lot of pogo like hopper
and
rogues running around. So.
like you literally have no idea what you're facing. You face Diamol plus Cobra turn 1, and then suddenly they play Pogo Hoppers and then copy the Pogo Hoppers, then they play the Death Rattle weapon, and then suddenly they have like these poisonous Death Rattles that clear your board.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they have X, and suddenly they have Valera, and then they have infinite value, and you have no freaking clue what's happening. This is a very new rogue experience.
That weapon is so good, man. That's a
And it is,
crazy good.
and
Might be the best card. It actually might be the best card in Rogue right now. It's that weapon, in my opinion.
The stuff you can do with Valera in this type of deck is it's crazy, because you can just play the Death Rattle weapon and then re-equip the Death Rattle weapon with itself and then proc a Death Rattle.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy.
And people just go like double like Fungal Mancer. Like you never played Valera in like a minion based deck. You always played it like in Kingsbane Rogue or like in Quest Rogue, but not in a deck that focuses on board control and doing cube stuff. Like it's literally cube rogue. We were talking about this when we did the cards review. People are playing cube rogue now.
Yeah. I mean, it's legit. I mean, when you have things that can trigger death rattles, cube is all of a sudden viable, like super viable, in many different ways too. It doesn't even have to be a charge or rush minion. It could even just like a regular minion. You can still cube and instantly trigger it, and you're basically getting an immense value for, play dead is like 1 mana, right? So this thing is like a second swing of a of a weapon, which is crazy good. So
like you mentioned earlier, the spell, right? If you cube something, you get already 2 things of it. But if you use the 5 mana spell, you get 4 things of it.
Yeah.
And then if you have Valera, you can just cube it. You can do the spell twice.
I know.
Then you have like infinite things. The only thing that stops you is like the 7 board space thing.
That's true. Okay, so maybe take 1 or 2 more here. We got Randuin. Do you think Mecha'thun decks will see play in tournaments to counter slow decks?
Okay, answer that. So first of all, the only remotely viable Mecha'thun deck I've seen so far is the Mecha'thun Druid, right?
Yeah.
So the Mecha'thun Warlock seemed too slow, bad. What other Mecha'thun decks do we have?
I mean, there was like a priest one. I mean, I think we sent out a stat yesterday. It was like, let me see. Let me just look at the tweets again. Like we tweeted out like, where is it? Here we go. We got top Mecha'thun activators. So we had Naturalize, 64, almost 64%. Cataclysms, 28%. Shadow or Death, 1.1%. Starfall, 0.8%. And then Shield Slams, 0.7%. So I guess some warriors are trying to do it too.
So I don't think I like it because I think there's stronger anti-fatigue decks. I think I don't know if Shadowhawk Shaman is faster. Shadowhawk Shaman might actually be one of the slowest anti-control or anti-fatigue decks now, which just blows my mind. But the Togwaggle Druid just seems so much more consistent. So let's assume Mecha'thun Druid is the best version of Mecha'thun, and Togwaggle is just better, because Mecha'thun Druid you can counter with Skulking Geist, and you need the Naturalize on your own Mecha'thun. But people also play like the 4 mana guy, that after you played your Mecha'thun, you play the 4 mana guy. But how do you kill your 4 mana guy after Skulking Geist? I guess you can Wrath Moonfire, something like that.
No, you can't swipe.
Can you? No, you can't swipe your own minion.
You can Starfall, right? That's exactly what Starfall's for.
Or Starfall, yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what it's for.
But I think like if that plays against Togwaggle, you always have to think about how do the matchups work, like the anti-fatigue mirrors. So if Togwaggle plays against that, I think Togwaggle is just faster. Not sure, because both decks are extremely fast. Maybe it might be like a Clown Fiesta, but Togwaggle like just gives you like more cards or no cards. I don't know. It then comes down to draw RNG if you drew your Mecha'thun or if your Mecha'thun gets burned or whatever. But maybe you could just copy their Mechatoon with Azalina and then you do the combo first. Who the hell knows?
I think the format matters too, because I think that, you know, depending on what format you play, I think Mechatoon, you know, type of decks are, you know, just good to have. Like if it's, you know, the one thing about Shutterwalk I have to say is that, you know, after watching like 3 months of Shutterwalk games, you know, with you pros playing and everything, is that there are different lines to win with Shutterwalk. Where with these decks, there are not very many. I mean, maybe Azalina has some like lines we haven't really developed like super well yet, but for the most part, there are no other lines except for you know, like running out of cards and killing your Mechatoon, or running out of cards and killing your guy in fatigue. Where, you know, Shutterwalk, we actually had times where there are 3/6/6 on the board or 4/6/6 on the board, and that would win games, right? So, you know, that's one thing I just want to point out, because I think Shutterwalk's better in that regard, just generally as a more versatile type of control deck or a combo deck, or what do you want to call it. But so if you were to play these cards, it would, I mean, these kind of decks, it's literally as a sniper. So if the format's going to be more conducive to that.
Okay. Short answer, yes.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So
niche pick, niche formats, niche situations. Like if you expect greedy meta in a tournament setting, then you will play anti-control decks, and then you will play the best anti-control decks. And Mechatoon is like a guaranteed win condition. So if it's better than Togwaggle, then you will play that instead. But if Togwaggle is better, then you will probably play Togwaggle.
Yeah, one of them is going to win out, right? One of them is going to be the deck to go to. So we'll have to see what that is. All right, one more question. Let's see. Anything else here?
In the first weeks in the first tournament, I think people will just cannot decide which one is better. So we will, I think, see both versions.
Yeah. So let's see, Icotrix, I guess is his name. Icotrix. Are there any Shaman Eureka decks? Something like Malgus OTK.
Yeah, I faced it today.
Yeah.
You play Farsight, you play Eureka, you play a bunch of Malgus from hand.
Yeah, crazy.
And then I got Frost Shocked for 12.
Wow, that's crazy. Frost Shocked for 12.
Not a Moonfire? No, a Frost Shocked for 12.
Who knew that was going to happen? Who knew you could kill like
it was so random
a Deathwing with that guy? Wow.
Like, because it plays all these cards from Shadowwork Shaman, and then you the whole time think you face Shadowwork Shaman, and then suddenly you get like Frost Shocked for 12.
That's an experience. Wow. So yeah, was it viable? Probably not. Just like
he plus rank 2. It's not like super.
Okay, it's not bad.
Maybe he was just testing. Who knows? Like the expansion, it's still young. Everything is still young.
Well, I'm just talking about just past, right? Like past.
Like the thing is, compared to Malygos Druid, I think Malygos Druid, what I like about it, and Togwaggle, they don't have too great anti-aggro tools. I think this is what keeps these. This is why Zoo is keeping these type of decks in check. But Shaman, if you can play all these like volcanoes, lightning storms, and stuff, it might just be like, you know, a worse OTK, but a much better like anti-aggro healing type of deck, which is much better versus aggro. Then I can see these decks being like more popular. You know.
I don't know, man. Spraying Plague's pretty good, dude.
Yeah, but if people play Void Rippers and into Despicable Dreadlord, then you're just very sad.
Yeah, okay. I guess that's true. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, anyways, guys, I think that's going to be it, unless there's a question. Oh, I guess there's one more. All right, we'll take one more here. Heretic 988. So there's one more expansion that needs to complete the cycle. But what archetypes exist with only Witchwood Classic in Boomsday card? Just wondering what it looks like after KFT Kobolds and Ungoro cycle out. Okay, so basically, what decks right now look like they are Witchwood and Doomsday heavy, which I think none of them are right now, to be honest. Like, it would, you know, it takes actually being put into that situation, I think, to build those type of decks. Right now, we don't have anything. There was nothing in Witchwood that was crazy strong to the point where we built decks around it outside of Shutterwalk. That was like literally the only thing, right?
Like maybe Token Druid played like the Whispering Woods. Token Druid played like
we don't need living mana,
basic cards and Whispering Woods. Yeah.
Branching Path's gone though, but
yeah,
you could easily replace it with something new. Yeah, that's a good point. Again, maybe Token Druid, I could see that. Maybe even Taunt Druid. Taunt Druid might be.
Rogue doesn't really care about those old expansions.
Katharina was when? Katharina was Kobolds, wasn't it? I was trying to see if Hunter might be possible too.
Yeah, Rogue plays mostly basic cards and then just added like a new free drop. If you think about Rogue, how dominant it was and how little new cards it played, it's actually insane. It only played the Hedged Thug and
Faldori, right? Like.
Yeah, Faldori.
Yeah.
But do we still have Faldori? Which expansion?
No, Faldori I think is what is Faldori?
KFT?
No, I thought Faldori was like Kobolds maybe. But Faldori will probably be gone.
Oh yeah. It's Kobolds.
Yeah.
Can't wait
so it's pretty hard to tell. Like I don't think that it's possible that Paladin, Odd Paladin, could be around.
Oh, of course, he plays like trash cards. Of course, dude, he was like playing freaking the 7-drop.
Oh man, well,
the first version
lose Vinecleaver. Vinecleaver is pretty important, dude.
Yeah, but dude, the first versions of Oddpal, yes, there were viable lists with just one Vinecleaver, and you would just play other garbage odd cards, and it will work. Like it worked with like the most random cards, right?
Yeah.
It's so dumb. The deck will be around 100%.
For sure. Okay, guys. Well, I think we're going to wrap up. Yeah, so good show. Definitely good first, well, or at least day one. And I can't wait to see what the next week's going to look like. But again, definitely check out HSReplay.net and check out the Twitter feed, because we're just going to keep on putting stuff out for you guys, especially in this first week to keep on trucking, keep on watching. But Gaara, you want to do some shout outs before we take off?
Shout out to my stream. I stream every single day, twitch.tv/GaaraBShaman. Follow me on Instagram, GaaraBShaman. Follow me on Twitter, GaaraBShaman.
You're like doing that too fast. People can't even understand what you're saying.
Follow me on YouTube, GaaraBShaman. Uploading a YouTube video every single day. Everything every single day.
Yeah, check out those videos.
Show every single week, right after my stream. Like today's, dude, my Wednesday is always like I wake up, I stream, then I stop when it's midnight.
Yeah.
And then I go to bed. So yeah, shout out to you, Chanman. Great show. I'm super excited. This week is Boomsday. Next week, the new WoW expansion. So gaming-wise, pretty hype right now.
Why do they always do that? Why do they come out with WoW expansions before BlizzCon? Like, I don't understand, like, why they don't do that at BlizzCon.
There was actually a Diablo announcement today as well.
Oh, wow. Really? Dude, I don't even know what is that? Like...
that they're working on multiple Diablo projects.
Whatever. Okay, never mind.
But imagine there's like a MMO Diablo. What? How crazy would that be?
They already have an MMO
would you
game.
Play
Why would they make another MMO game?
A Diablo MMO? Would you play it? Come on, of course you would.
I mean, of course we'd check it. I mean, it's kind of hard not to play it, like try it, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to feel about that. Like anything Diablo right now, I feel like I need to be convinced, like reconvinced. I can't believe it.
It has to be super fresh spanking
for sure. But yeah, so I'll round things out. Kind of just doing the normal. Like you can find us on audio channels, on iTunes, on Google Play, on Spotify, on SoundCloud.com/ChanmanV. If you enjoy the show, leave us a review. It really, really helps in terms of people finding the show when they're looking for a Hearthstone podcast to listen to on the way to work or anything like that. You can find the VODs on youtube.com/HSReplay.net or still on my channel too, if you're still followed there on ChanmanV. And one thing that you can notice if you go to HSReplay.net right now is you'll notice Crip's stream actually playing down below. So you might want to check out his stream, especially when Gaara's not streaming anymore. So you can check that out. I don't think you need that much help in trying to find his stream, but you can definitely check that out. And thanks everybody for watching. You guys are awesome. So for Gaara and myself, ChanmanV, I'll see you next week. What is that, dude?